first off the list here, Toast. What do you have for us?
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, what's it called? I don't know the
At-
Japanese name of this. I only know
Atelier,
I only know I only know the English title.
yeah, Atelier Ryza, yeah,
I, I
Atelier Ryza,
watched.
Ever Darkness and the Secret Hideout, also known as Atelier Ryza no Atelier, Toyokami no Jo Himitsu no Kakurega. And
I,
yeah, this is
aka Atelier Ryza 1.
yeah. So this is done by Leiden Films. Okay, that's a name I haven't seen in a while.
I don't know who Leiden Films are.
They did stuff. They did smaller stuff like Aira. I think they did as Miss Beelzebub likes it. What is it? They did some
Terraform Mars. Oh boy. Secco Boys. Isn't Secco Boys
Cells at
the
Work. Code Black. Um. Oh right, they did do Creamer recently. I forgot. Yeah, they did. They've done a decent amount of stuff here and there,
Berserk? I
but
don't believe that. Yakuza
That's
no
probably
Juliet.
assisting.
yeah, it's like
Tokyo
I'm missing
Revengers. Tokyo Revengers. Wasn't that the one with the really good opening?
Yeah,
I
I mean
forget.
that opening got pretty popular.
Mhm.
But not as popular as Beastars.
But yeah, anyways, so
Shit, yeah.
Atelier Ryza.
Leiden Films also is doing Kenshin, by the way. So,
Yeah.
wow, they're double
Uh,
dipping. Good for
they're
them.
probably they probably have a
Triple
lot more
dipping?
money for Kenshin. But
Did they though? I don't know.
anyways,
So,
going over to Atelier Ryza.
so as someone who hasn't played any of the Atelier Ryza games,
I don't think any
watch,
of us here have.
watching this anime made me feel like I'm missing out on something.
So it was made specifically for the fans in this case.
I don't know. I'm not a fan. I mean, uh, so it's basically the story about some islanders. There's a who live on this secluded island. You got Ryza, the main character. Where her name's Rysalind Stout, and she's a farmer girl. Then you've got her friends. One of them's like Lent. Is that Lent? Lent is the big swordsman dude with the red hair, and he's I don't know swings a sword. Then there's Tao, who's the Shota bookworm nerd, and they just hang out. They're called the Three Brats because they hang out and go on adventures and whatnot. So and one day they're like, "Hey, this island sucks. We've already explored most of this island. Let's go on an adventure." So because there's this famous merchant that's coming to the island, so they sneak up on a boat and like go to the mainland. There they meet the merchants. Then they explore the island, having an adventure. Then they run into the merchant's daughter, Claudia, and then they save her from some monsters. And then they come back to the island. And then once Claudia is there, plus two other important characters, that's when the main story starts. The main story of this series is it's basically the perfected version of isekai slice of life that I've always wanted. Because if you've played the games, the Atelier series, it's mostly about crafting, right? Like
Pretty
the
sure.
the main
Yes.
focus of the series is about crafting, and that shows very well in this series because I'm 8 episodes in, and the majority of this series is slice of life craft, like collecting alchemy materials and crafting stuff. And you know what? It's great.
So it's just like slow life for the most part.
It's very slow life
Okay,
so far. They're like
seems
this.
pretty.
There's a lot of like they encounter monsters while um
Oh, okay.
gathering materials, but that's not the main focus because they they suck at it.
Honestly, I feel
They
like
they're
this is a
really bad at fighting
better
monsters.
way to construct a series based off, say a game, and it has a little bit more of a vague story structure, or not a vague story structure, but it's usually more difficult to put a story in a game, as we've seen from previous precedents, into an anime than it is a lot of other media, right? But I think doing it in this sort of like more episodic soul life way is probably the better way to do it, right? Is my guess.
That's because in when there's usually like a video game adaptation of something.
Hmm.
What was the last video game adaptation anime? Was it Tales? I don't know. I don't
Isn't
know
it?
any.
Wasn't it that like wasn't it Tales of Mana, Legend of Mana, or whatever? Yeah,
Was it?
I
Well,
think
it
that was
was
the
a
last one.
Tales, right? Maybe sure,
Yeah,
but like
Uh,
with those, well, I mean, I'm mostly talking about like console stuff, like the PC ones. I don't know. But anyway,
hmm
the point is, most of the stuff, most of the video game adaptations, anime, they usually have this grandiose story of like there's this great evil trying to take over the world. So there's this huge emphasis on important plot, right?
hmm
Like, oh, there's this giant evil trying to take over the world, and we must stop it. This one is completely small scale. There's no so far there's no overarching plot
Oh, okay.
of
There's no
like,
like foreshadowing. There's nothing of that.
well, there's a little, but it's like so far it's pretty minor. The
Hmm.
main thing is there's a bunch of I haven't mentioned the two other characters, right? So the two other characters that I didn't mention were Empel and Leela. Empel being is this like famous alchemist that's traveling around exploring
Hmm.
ruins, and Layla is his bodyguard. And the reason they came to the island is that this island is chock full of ruins. So like that's why they're there. So so far it's pretty small scale, as in like, oh, we're here to explore some ruins, and there's no big overarching plot about destroying the world just yet. But so
Hmm.
far, mainly, this entire series so far has been mostly about Ryza and her friends is going on outings, going on small adventures, then coming back, pretty
Yeah.
much.
There probably might be like a small thing that. So my guess on this is like at best there might be something in like episodes 10, 11, 12, or 11 and 12 that'll kind of be like there's like a slightly bigger thing going on out there, and then maybe that'll lead into or imply that'll lead into the game's sort of later story as well, but doesn't actually, but with the anime it just kind of
There's
ends there.
the
But I
only
feel like
the only big like fight was in episode 9.
mhm,
Is it episode 9? Episode 8 or 9? But like it's still pretty small scale still. They later on, way like maybe is it 6 or 7, they encounter this mysterious creature when they were building their Atelier hideout in the forest, and it's like this is the creature that the two that Empel and Leela have been looking for, and like it's probably connected to the ruins, but so far it's pretty small scale. Nothing, no big adventure yet.
mhm,
It's been most like, oh hey, at was it Ryza learning alchemy from Empel because he's an alchemist, and she found her way of life. Like, hey, that's some cool stuff. Let me learn alchemy. She learns alchemy from him, making small things that improve her daily life. Like small side quests that would be part. If it was in the game, I would assume these are side quests. Like, hey, we're gonna make some ointment. And like, hey, we're gonna build our atelier. So not. Oh yeah,
so is each episode based around like a specific thing that they're going to craft, or is it, or like a specific like monster of the day kind of thing,
there.
or what?
It's pretty much so far it's been mostly like, hey, Ryza, I'm gonna tell you to find this ingredient, and you bring your friends. They're gonna help you find the ingredient, and that's it.
Okay.
And then there was this one thing where like, oh, hey Claudia, I want pudding. Make me some pudding, and that was a whole episode. And that was a good episode. They spent the
Okay.
entire episode talking about the difference between like goat's milk and cow milk and
What?
various sugars. And I'm
Man.
like, I'm gonna synthesize some sugar for it. I was like, sweet, that's cool. But yeah,
Pretty good. Okay,
Pretty,
this is a
pretty.
pretty
It's
good.
very cozy, very. I believe it's very true to the game. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think the big part of why this specific way formula is successful when it that isn't necessarily so in like say isekai in some isekais is because it fits the idea of the game, right? So if you know like if you're coming in you're like, oh yeah, this is the game, then it's just like it obviously fits.
the name of the day in the end is crafting. This series is very focused on its crafting aspect.
Hmm.
Like, oh, we're gonna gather these various alchemy items, and you know what? They did that really well. Whatnot.
Yeah.
I also have to mention that well, that's enough about like the plot in quotes because there's not much of a plot I've seen yet.
Hmm.
But yeah, but overall, what else? The characters. I may have some qualms about how Lent is drawn because Lent's a weirdo. Why's he got a half shirt? I get his single pauldron, but like I don't like Lent's design. He looks like a weirdo. Everyone else is fine though. It's just he's weird looking. The
What
red
about
haired guy, he's weird. The character designs in the series are great. You know,
okay.
well, they're all good. I just don't like Lent. Even Shota Boitao, if you like that, you might like him. All the female characters, they're great. That was the main what's it called? The eye catch of the series, right? Like, hey, Rice has got some pretty cool pants, and
or lack thereof.
she got yeah, Lila's got and Lila's got some nice boobs, and like that's cool. Character designs well done, but also their the character interactions between them. There's good character development. They all have. Like each character is important in their own way to the story. Ryza's the alchemist, so her job is to find ingredients and go on. She's the main driver of the adventures they go on because they're there to help her find ingredients. And then
Yeah.
or Lent is he's the muscle, he's the warrior, he helps out. And then Tao, he's the book smarts guy, so he helps lead them in the right direction because he can read. Because like he started off not being able to read the fancy like runes across the ruins, but he went to Empel to learn the runes, so now he can help them investigate their adventures and whatnot. Then you got
Okay.
Empel, he's the alchemist. He teaches Ryza what to do. He's like the quest giver. Like, hey, I need you to do this. Then Lila is his bodyguard, so she teaches Lent how to fight because he's the warrior. So they
Oh,
all
so
got their own.
they have like little interactions within the cast and not just like with regards to the main character, right?
Yeah,
Okay, that's fair.
yeah. They all have their
Um,
own. They all have their own goals. And then Claudia's, she's the merchant's daughter. She's Rise's friend.
mhm.
I think she's so far the least developed of the main four, being Ryza, Lin, Tao, and her. But she's definitely coming into her own light because she's learning archery, so she can help out in battles too and
Yeah.
whatnot. But yeah, these characters are all mesh together very well with each other. So you can tell there was a lot of thought put into their interactions, and that's good.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's not just like just randomly interacting with the main character here and
It's
there
not
and
a
not
random
just
harem and whatnot.
yeah, yeah.
And and lo and behold, I don't think there's any romance involved with the series. I don't think so. They're all friends going on fun adventures in a way, very
Right, right.
similar to I want to say Princess Connect. It's a bunch of dudes hanging around and having fun. So I got Princess Connect vibes from this, and that's very good.
What's how are the audio visuals like?
The visuals are fine, and the audio pretty good too. I can't tell whether or not this is taken directly from the games because I peeked at some of the game soundtrack. And it's mostly classical piano, and whatnot. Very fun, whimsical stuff. It's good. I don't have any complaints, and whatnot.
Alright.
I will say though about the visuals. There's a lot of sudden camera angles showing one character's specific body parts, and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, this is what the
Like a
game was
random,
marketed around.
yeah, it's like a random cut. Here, Ryza's thighs. So there's
Yeah.
like several cuts throughout every episode, and I'm like, damn, that's
They
cool.
know.
Yeah,
There's a reason Ryza has like 18 different figures, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I have no complaints about it at all. It's like
Yeah.
here's from below, here's from the side, here's from the back. I'm like, damn, nice.
Those camera shots are made for world peace. I think. But anyways, any last words on the series?
Let's see. The opening, the opening's a Golden Ray by Sangatsu no Fantasia, and
Okay.
I want to say it's really good. I really like the whimsical nature of it.
Yeah.
I want to say it's beating out Spellblade's opening for me because I definitely feel how the lighthearted and fun this opening is in comparison to like it matches well.
Okay.
It definitely feels like it would have been in the main games, so it doesn't beat out. It doesn't fall flat short of that. I don't
That's
know.
pretty good.
All I have is really this series is pretty good. I feel like I
Yeah.
missed out by not playing Atelier, but I don't know. Maybe I'm definitely poking my nose in the direction of the Atelier series now because
Yeah,
I
I
knew
think
of
I think
them.
it was also better than probably most people expected because people kind of again usually expect a slightly mediocre kind of mess of a proper adaptation translation of the game's plot into the anime when something like this is released. But I'm glad that they kind of just toned it back down to, as you said, a very episodic soul life based around the main crafting um system that the Atelier series kind of focuses on, and kind of just ran with that. So
But yeah, I mean, I don't have any complaints about much of this series. Really, I it's good. Check it out. If you're a fan of the game, you definitely would like this series.
all
Like I'm not a fan of the game. I haven't played them yet, but I really like this too.
right. What
So what
what mouse score would you give it?
I'm gonna give this a strong 9 out of 10. Very good.
All right. Okay.
You guys missed out by not checking this out. Definitely one of the better anime adaptations of a video game in a long time. I'm looking at you, God Eater. Why is it ranked 6.55 on Mal? What the hell? What
Probably
is
because it's
what?
literally probably just because it's a game adaptation. Like to be honest, like,
Yeah.
like any
Yeah. Exactly. There's also higher expectations usually from like anime weebs who haven't learned yet, because like the new I don't want to say like newer generation, but people who haven't been watching anime as much, when they encounter anime adaptations of games, they usually expect a lot more. It's kind of like how way back when, say Lord of the Rings fans were expecting everything in the books to be translated perfect into the movies, right? Which obviously then would lead into 12-hour movies. But it's kind of the similar thing with these games where you can't it's just impossible. You can't have everything in the game be translated into the anime. Else you would have a, an anime that lasts a million hours. So um people kind
I
of
don't
always
know.
set themselves up for disappointment.
Are they complaining that the swimsuits in there was a swimsuit episode? The swimsuits are different because I peeped their swimsuits in that's the Ryza one, and they're way different than the one shown in the anime. I don't know, man. Sure, may I guess. There was also I don't know. Maybe people will just like that. It's not. I want to like from the very small information I have on Atelier, it's not one for one, but it follows a lot of the main story beats. There's
Mhm.
no there's no like
Mhm.
weird turn that made everyone upset. I'm talking about you, Valkyria Chronicles. You know what I'm talking about. That stupid love triangle that no one liked at all. That was so dumb.
Anime game differences are very interesting to say the very least. But
But
anyway,
yeah, definitely give it a peep if you want actual good slice of life. Unlike some other isekais in this series, is this? I'm gonna
No.
make it an honorary isekai and say, hey, this is the best isekai this season. Best isekai slice of life. Jitsu wa Saikyo deshita? No. Level one with level one drop right? Screw that. Great cleric? Who cares? Sugar? What is it? Sweet,
yeah,
sweet,
sugar sweet.
sweet war? Whatever it's called.
Yeah, I
Screw
know what you're
that.
talking about.
Just watch Atelier Ryza. You'll get all what we wanted with fun, slow life, and more. But yeah, nothing but praise for this. Good stuff.
All right.
That's not including the thighs.
The
That's
thighs
just a
also included
bonus.
another
It's
half
just
water
it's just another layer on top.
yeah, exactly. Anyways, thank you very much, Toast, then for Atelier Ryza. I know again, there were not like the highest sort of expectations for most of us who have seen a decent amount of these game adaptations, but I'm glad it came out strong out of the gate and that it kind of stayed, it had a good formula to it. So again, if you guys are interested as well, the name again is Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness, and what is it? Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness, and the Secret Hideout. So
The secret hideout is her atelier. The ever darkness is, I guess, something to do with the ruins. So
yeah,
you get what you paid for. Because there's 3 games of this, so
yeah.
this might be just 12 episodes, and then season 2 is gonna be season 2 might be game 2. I'm for that. Sure.
But yeah, please do check it out.